ريكورد. فاحنا بدأنا التسجيل حتى نقدر ما بعد المؤتمر نشوف وين قطعنا شوط في هاي التجربة، اللي فعلا هي تجربة فريدة. 10 محاضرات ب10 أسابيع، متنوعة جغرافيا وأماكن ومجالات، كله في إطار القالب اللغوي. كنا نأكد كل الوقت إنه إحنا مش جايين نعمل إثراء بالمضمون، لأنه هذا مجال تاني، ولكن على الطريق كنا نستفيد من كل المحاضرين لغويا ونستفيد من المحل. طبعا أبو طارق اللي هو مسؤول الإثراء والتثقيف في المنتدى، برنامجه بجعبته الكثير من الفعاليات. احنا بدنا نتفرغ حاليا للمؤتمر، وبالمؤتمر طبعا مش راح ننسى موضوع الإثراء. قبل ما أصل إيش راح ناخذ في المؤتمر، بدي أعطيكم وين صرنا اليوم. إحنا التاريخ تثبت، المكان تثبت، اللي هو فندق الجولدن كراون في الناصري. وكما ذكرت المرة الماضية، أصحاب الفندق يعني استقبلوا فعاليات المؤتمر بالكامل، وهذا أمر هون علينا كثير. ورتبنا ضمن المؤتمر انه في الجانب الرسمي، خلينا نسميه جانب التحيات والكلمة التلخيصية عن الدورة السابقة، عن الفترة السابقة. في راح يكون محاضرتين إثرائيات وازنات مهمات جدا من محاضرين من الصف الأول في مجالهم. يعني عندنا محاضرة أو مداخلة احنا سميناها لمدة 20 دقيقة مش أكثر، حول الحفريات تحت المسجد الأقصى بين الاكتشافات والأجندات. بيقدمها عالم الآثار الفلسطيني المعروف والمؤرخ المعروف الدكتور نظمي الجعبي. والمداخلة الثانية، هذا كله في إطار المؤتمر، راح تكون للأستاذ الخبير سيمون أزازيان، اللي أصدر كتاب وعمل طروحة الماستر تبعته حول موضوع الترتيبات الوضع القائم في كنيسة القيامة، و بين التاريخ والسياسة. طبعا هو عمل دراسة عن حالة دير السلطان، اللي فيه خلاف عليه بين الكنيسة الأثيوبية والكنيسة القبطية، ولكن هو راح يقدم مداخلة عن وضعية كنيسة القيامة بمجملها. فعمليا المؤتمر هو كمان فرصة للإثراء، فرصة لاكتساب معارف جديدة إلنا كمرشدين، بالإضافة أنه بانتظار المشاركين سلة من الهدايا اللي هي عبارة عن أدوات مساعدة لعمل كل مرشد، إحنا نقوم بتحضيرها بهاي الفترة. طبعا الإمكانية للمشاركة في المؤتمر مفتوحة للكل، وأيضا هناك 4 ورشات اللي فيه إمكانية للحوار فيها من كل المرشدين، كل واحد حسب رغبته حسب ميله. بالمجمل مدة المؤتمر لا تزيد عن 3 ساعات. هاي مرة بال4 سنين، فالواحد بيقدر من يقول 9 الشهر أنا موجود مع زملائي في المؤتمر، فرصة ألتقي فيهم، فرصة أستفيد، وفرصة أكسب مواد ومعلومات. طبعا محاضرة اليوم كلنا تختتم ولا تنهي هاي التجربة لحين تلخيصها، تقييمها، وتطويرها. سمعتوا ملاحظة من واحد من الزميلات انه ليش تعملوش دائما يوم السبت. هذا الامر طبعا مفتوح، فيش عندنا اشي ثابت. محاضرة اليوم العاشرة حبينا ننهيها مع زميلنا المخضرم، زميلنا المجرب، زميلنا صاحب الرصيد، زميل رمزي تلسع، ابن مدينة بيت صحور، بلدة الرعاة وحاضنة بيت لحم. هو خريج مدارس بيت صحور، هو دارس فلسفة ولاهوت في المعهد الإكليريكي الجامعي في بيت جالة، وأيضا خريج جامعة بيت لحم في موضوع السياحة، يختص بالسياحة الدينية، وأيضا له تجربة في سياحة وإرشاد أصحاب الإعاقات أو أصحاب الاحتياجات الخاصة. فبفتح المجال للزميل رمزي لتقديم محاضرته حول بيت لحم مهد السيد المسيح. كالعادة احنا بنستمع حتى النهاية، وبالآخر نفتح المجال لتقديم الأسئلة أو المداخلات إن وجدت، في إطار ساعة وعشر دقائق نستمع إلى زميلنا رمزي. منصة إلك رمزي.
مساء الخير، يعطيكم العافية جميعا.
ارفع صوتك بس شوي.
هيك أوضح، هيك
أيوه.
أوضح.
أي
أوكي،
نعم.
ممتاز. مساء الخير جميعا، يعطيكم العافية. طبعا اتفقنا إنه بالإنجليزي. اعذروني إنه أنا لغة الإنجليزي هي اللغة الثالثة مش الثانية، اللغة الثانية عندي الفرنسي. فإن شاء الله أبيض وجهكم في موضوع الإنجليزي. على كل حال، good evening everyone. Good evening colleagues and friends. Some of you know me very well. Some maybe they will know me today. I know some of you as well. And at the end, we are all colleagues. We are all tour guides. I might have some information. You have other informations. We might have the same informations, but we increase the richness of each other. My friends Rad asked me to talk about Bethlehem and the Church of the Nativity. Bethlehem uh, is my hometown, or Bethel is my hometown, but it's really very next to Bethlehem. There's no real geographic separation between both cities. And I remember when I was born, and at my childhood, it was about 10 minutes walking. I am reaching the Church of Nativity from my home. So I very often I consider myself to be the neighbor of Christ in his church. Okay, Bethlehem. From where comes the name? Bethlehem, as most of us know, was mentioned first in Tel el Amarna letters by Bet el Lachmo, Bet Ilo Lachama. This was interpreted by scholars as house of bread, related to lechem in Hebrew and in Aramaic. Some interpreted it as a house of God of war, Lachama, and others also said that it's the house of God of food. And maybe you can hear more other interpretation about the name. Bethlehem is known as Bethlehem today, and it was having four names in history. The actual name of Bethlehem, as we all know it, but also as we read in the Bible, that Bethlehem was called Bethlehem of Judea, simply to distinguish it from Bethlehem of Galilee. And also know that in America, we have many, many cities in the States that they have the same name as Bethlehem, as Jerusalem, as Nazareth. So it is to be distinguished out of these cities. It is called, or it was called Bethlehem of Judea, as it is located in the Judean region and next to the Judean desert. It was also known, also in the Bible, as the town of David, King David. Don't forget that King David was born in Bethlehem, and he lived his childhood at least in Bethlehem, and he was a shepherd in the fields of Bethlehem, maybe more in the fields of Beth Sahur. Never mind, it was always one region, and he was anointed king in Bethlehem. No, sorry, he was anointed king in Bethlehem. Uh, Fourth name, as we read also in the Bible, at the book of Micha, Bethlehem Ephrata, which means the fertile land. And for sure, there is a reason to be called by this name, I mean, because it's found at the edge of the Judean desert. And compared to the Judean desert, it was a fertile region. And for sure, we have more fertile lands more towards the west and more towards the north, mainly in Galilee. But it was at the limit with the Judean desert. Also, it is related to Christ that Jesus, who gave us his body, himself, that he was the fruit, the best fruit of Bethlehem, being born in the city of Bethlehem. Bethlehem was mentioned many times in the Bible. I guess some of you know the references. Maybe some do not know all the references, but it seems that it was mentioned more than 50 times in the Bible. Here I put some references, some where it was mentioned. Mainly, we read that the first mention was with the burial of Rachel, the wife of Jacob, the second wife of Jacob, the beloved wife.
حاول
آه،
تذكرها بالعربي هاي الاسماء هون بحياتك اذا بتقدر.
بيت لحم ذكرت بالبداية في الكتاب المقدس مع دفن رحيل اللي كانت الزوجة الثانية والزوجة المحبوبة ليعقوب. Until nowadays we still have the tomb of Rachel at the northern entrance of the city of Bethlehem. Unfortunately, during the Second Intifada, with the construction of the wall, it became on the other side of the wall, and to go in, you have to go through Jerusalem area. Bethlehem was mentioned as the dwelling of Ruth and Boaz. مسكن روت المؤبية وبوز صاحب الحقول في منطقة بيت لحم. This you find in Book of Ruth, first chapter, verse 19. It was also mentioned when Prophet Samuel, anoints King David as king of Israel after Samuel was rejected by the eyes of God. مذكورة أيضا في لما النبي صموئيل مسح الملك داود بدل الملك شاول في كتاب صموئيل الأول في الفصل السادس عشر الآية الأولى. First book of Samuel, chapter 16, verse 1. Bethlehem was the hometown of King David. يعني مذكورة أنه كانت مسكن النبي داود. Also, first book of Samuel, chapter 17. Also, we read during the days of King David and even during the days of King Saul, Bethlehem was occupied by the Philistines. And here we can read it in the second book of Samuel, chapter 23. And there's another references. I cannot see it because of the pictures. Sorry, but you can see it on the screen. مذكورة أنه بيت لحم احتلت من قبل الفلسطينيين أيام الملك داود وأيام الملك شاول. After the coming back of the exile, it was I'm sorry. Bethlehem was fortified by King Rehoboam, the son of King Solomon, that we read in the second book of Chronicles. الملك رحبعام حصل مدينة في كتاب الأخبار الثاني في الفصل 11. It was restored and rebuilt after the coming back of the Jews back from the exile of Babylon. And we read it in book of Nehemiah, chapter 7, and in book of Ezra, I guess, chapter 2. I cannot see it, but you can see it by yourself on the screen. ذكرت في كتاب النبي نحمية والنبي عزرا لما رجعوا من السبي إلى بابل تم إعمار بيت لحم مثل باقي المدن. And one of the most famous prophecy was the prophecy of Micah, chapter 5, verse 2. And you, Bethlehem, you're not the least among the clan of Judea. From you comes to me the one who will save my people. وأنت يا بيت لحم أفراطة لست الصغيرة بين يهوذا، منك يخرج لي من يخلص شعبي. بوك اوف ميكا، نبوة ميكا الفصل الخامس الآية 2. Uh, and the most important and the importance of Bethlehem comes for sure with the birth of Jesus in the city. Jesus, who's called the Prince of Peace, and even Bethlehem is called as well sometimes the Seat of Peace. And we read it in the Gospel of Matthew, chapter 2, verse 1, and chapter 2 of Luke, verse 4. طبعا أهم شيء لمدينة بيت لحم أو أهم حدث في مدينة بيت لحم واللي أعطاه الأهمية، بديش أقول مطلقة بس الكبرى، هو ميلاد السيد المسيح في مدينة بيت لحم، مدينة السلام، اللي هو نفسه مذكور كأمير السلام في معظم الكتب ومعظم الديانات وبين الشعوب. But now imagine that you are coming as colleagues, you are in the bus now, you are driving to Bethlehem. Where you are going to? You are going to the south. The geographical location of Bethlehem is to the south of the West Bank. It is found between Jerusalem and Hebron. And it is about 575 kilometers square. And here I'm talking about the region, not the city itself. By the way, the space the space of the city itself, it has only about 8,000 dunams or 800 hectares. And Bethlehem is about 760 meters to 600 meters above the sea level. Sometimes when there is snow, it snows as well in Bethlehem, mainly in the mountains of Bethlehem towards Beit Jala and a little bit to the south. Bethlehem as a region, it has five major cities. Bethlehem itself, Beit Jala, Beit Sahur, Al-Khadr, St. George, and Doha. It is considered a new city, by the way. It was a small compound, but now it's a big city. And also Bethlehem is famous with its three refugee camps, or it's known with its three refugee camps, Dheisha, Haida, and Bet Jibrin, that is known as well Al-Azza refugee camp. And it has about 71 villages and gathering in it. The population of Bethlehem is about the city now. The population of the city of Bethlehem is about 30,880 citizens, according to the Palestinian Statistics Center. And this was in the year 2021. And the citizens of the whole region is about 234,802 citizens in the whole region. And by the way, it's the smallest or among the smallest population or regions in Palestine or in the West Bank. Now you know that Bethlehem is found in the West Bank, and according to the Oslo Agreement, you know that Bethlehem was divided as other cities, such as Nablus, Hebron, Gaza in the beginning, Jericho as well, and you all know the areas A, B, C. And you know that the main parts of the city of Bethlehem is found in the area A, and the villages are found in area B. Meanwhile, the countryside or the non-inhabited or non-populated areas are found mainly in the area C, there where you find more of the Israeli Jewish settlements. And I guess you pass by them very often on your way to Hebron, on your way to Herodion, and so on. Also, some lands of Bethlehem were classified as natural reserve, and it has a big, it has a big percentage. It is a big percentage as a natural reserve. Imagine 19%. I guess most of you, or at least most of you, if not all of you, know that in Area A, both administration and security are held by the Palestinian Authority, and in Area B, security is held by the Israelis, and administration is run and held by the Palestinian Authority. And in Area C, everything is under the Israeli control, and it's run only by the Israelis, mainly the Israeli army. So this is a kind of general presentation about Bethlehem, but don't forget that according to this table, the schedule, you can find the percentage of Area A, Area B, and Area C, and you can have the space in dunhams in the middle of the table. And by the way, these tables and these maps are brought from Arich Center. Arich is the Center for Applied researches concerning ecology and politics in the whole Palestine, and they published a kind of report in 2018 about the the geopolitical statue of the cities of the West Bank in the settlements. And that's why in this map, I included the settlements of Bethlehem, as you can notice them in the blue color. Last political issue, let me say, about Bethlehem is the separation wall. Whenever you come from Jerusalem, for sure you will pass through the separation wall. You can see it, and you know that the separation wall is encircling Bethlehem. Sometimes it's made of cement, but some other times it's a kind of a small fence, such as when you pass by Beit Sahur. Just before coming up to Beit Sahur, after passing by Mazmuria, you can see the fence. It's a fence. It's not a big wall, as you can see. The wall of Bethlehem is about 82 kilometers long. 30 kilometers were achieved until the year 2018. 4 kilometers were still under construction, and 48 were planned to be built later. I don't know if they built some of it, or really, since a long time, I myself, I didn't hear anything about building new parts of the wall. As you all know, the Israelis call it as the security fence or security wall. For them, it prevented suicide bombings against Israel, which is a kind of fact in a way, but this was not really the wall. The reason, I mean, the goal of building the wall. I don't want to go deep in politics, but for sure, the wall is infecting the life of Palestinians. This wall is making our lives as Palestinians harder and harder and harder. It's separating the population out of their lands, out of their families sometimes, and out of the Israelis as well. Not all of them, but some of them. And it is considered to be a segregation and a separation wall more than a security fence. And now let us come to the top of our lecture today, the Church of Nativity. كنيسة المهد هي الأهم معلم في Bethlehem. It is the most important in Bethlehem, and without the Church of Nativity, maybe most of us are not coming to it. Maybe you will come to visit your friends, but with your tourists, if there was no Church of Nativity, you were not coming as tourist guides. According to my presentation, I will talk a little bit about the history of the church and the monuments inside the church and the different denominations that we find in the church, and a little bit about the festivities, mainly Christmas festivities. Ayad Eid al-Milad. The history of the Church of Nativity. تاريخ كنيسة المهد، مش تاريخ مدينة بيت لحم. تاريخ مدينة بيت لحم نقدر نشوفه نوعا ما في الكتاب المقدس. The history of Bethlehem, it's more or less found in the Bible. King Rachel, King David. It's not that rich in its old history, but the importance comes from the church, and the church itself is a little bit richer than the whole history of Bethlehem. Before building the church, we all know that Jesus was born in a cave, and that the church was built on that cave. But before that, the church was built, we know all that Hadrian, who passed by Jerusalem and who destroyed Jerusalem, he built two temples for two pagan gods in Jerusalem at the spot of the church of the Holy Sepulchre, or the resurrection. عفوا على الانجليزي. بنعرف كلنا انه هدريان ما وصل القدس وبنى معابد وثنيه على مكان كنيسه القيامه. Also, Hadrian built a pagan temple, maybe it was smaller, in Bethlehem on the spot of the birthplace of Jesus. It was dedicated to God Tammuz, which is the god Adonis. It is known in other name by God Adonis. Hadrian in Jerusalem, Bethlehem, he wanted that Palestinian, he wanted that Christians are not venerating this place anymore. He thought that by building on it, Christians will forget it. And by the way, this was used a kind of proof that this is really the spot where Jesus was born, and here at that the Church of Nativity is really built on the exact spot of the birthplace of Jesus. Who built the first church? You all know, Queen Helen, mother of Constantine, and you all know that she built it in the year 326 AD. And we know that she built other two churches in Jerusalem, mainly the Holy Sepulchre Church and the Eliona. And in its history, we all know that the church was burned by the Samaritans, and we know that Justinian built it again. So whether it was destroyed or it was more burned, but it seems that it was infected in its construction, and Justinian built it with the same stones, and even the same pillars inside are from the time of Justinian, of Queen Helen. And Justinian built his church in the year 535 after he calmed the Samaritan revolt against the Byzantines. We all know that the Church of Nativity was never destroyed by the Persians. كنا بنعرف انه كنيسة المهد لم يهدمها الفرس. عفوا اني عديت بالعربي انه بنتها القديسة هيلانا وحرقها السامريون وعاد بنائها جستنيانوس في عام 535. The Persians did not destroy the church, as we all know that they found a kind of tableau, mosaic tableau, it said, at the entrance of the church, and this tableau, unfortunately, it does not exist anymore. It was showing the visit of the three Magi's, the three kings coming from the east, and one of the Magi's was wearing the Persian clothes, so the last Persians thought that it was their building or it was under their administration. That's why they kept it, and it was not destroyed. And also, after when the Crusaders occupied Bethlehem, the church went under the control of the Crusaders. And later on, the Crusaders were out of the city. And we know that the Mamluks, after Salah ad-Din, first Salah ad-Din kicked out the Crusaders out of the country, but the Crusaders came back, and they were kicked out of the country again by the Mamluks. And in some places, we know that the Mamluks destroyed some churches or at least cities, such as Caesarea Maritima, for example. But the church of Bethlehem was not destroyed by the Mamluks, it was kept. Uh, and during the Crusader time, we all know, or you might know, that King Baldwin II and Baldwin IV were crowned kings inside the Church of Nativity, and they refused to be crowned in Jerusalem. And for sure, they were choosing the churches. Why not in Jerusalem? Simply because there, for them, Jesus was crowned with thrones, and here they were crowned with gold. So to make a little bit themselves humble, that is why they were crowned in Bethlehem. And the church stood for many centuries, and it is always the same church from the time of Justinian, 6th century, 535. And that is why it's called the oldest church on the Holy Land. It is known to be the oldest church, big church even, in the Holy Land. And you know that it went under restoration on the year about 2011. I don't remember exactly the year, but I guess it was 2011. And if I'm not mistaken, the next year, after the beginning of restorations, the UNESCO declared the Church of Bethlehem as a World Heritage Monument. And it took, again, a huge importance in the whole world. And that is why the restoration took many years, because it went more than it was planned. The plan was to restore only the ceiling of the Church of Nativity. But at the end, the whole church was restored, and you can distinguish by the pictures. By the way, this picture, I took it myself 2 days ago, and you can see with the sun how clear is the facade. There's another picture, I guess the next one, you will see an old picture of Bethlehem, and you can distinguish how old it was. So everything was restored, the outside, the inside, and you can see the difference. I'm sorry, I want to come back. No, it was the previous picture. That was the old one, and I have now, you have the old picture on the screen, and here you have the new picture. بما اني نسيت زميلنا اللي طلب احكي بالعربي شوي، حكيت انه
لا،
الفرس مهدوا
المقصود بعض
الكنيسه.
المصطلحات بس رمزي، مش تحكي بالعربي، احكي بالانجليزي، بس بعض المصطلحات اكد عليها بالعربي بس.
على خفيف انه الفرس ما هدموا الكنيسه ولا المماليك، والملك بلبن الاول الثاني عفوا، والملك بلبن الرابع توجوا ملوك داخل الكنيسه، وتم ترميم كنيسة المعز حوالي 2011، وأعلنتها اليونسكو وورد هيريتج، مركز أو موقع تراث عالمي، حوالي 2012. What are the monuments that we can see in the Church of Nativity? As you can read on the screen, the facade and the entries, or the gates, let me say. I don't want to say gates. I prefer to say entries because it's a small door nowadays. By the way, the facade, الواجهة, you can distinguish on the facade that there are three doors or three gates or three entrances. The big one still seen. Maybe you have to concentrate a little bit. Let me go back. Sorry. I will try to show it with my pen here. You can see the pen?
Yes.
Yes, here I am trying to show you the first door marks here, and it seems that this big gate was having three entrance, or this big entrance was having three gates. Uh, we have the main one, and you have a smaller one to the left that still seen the trace or the marks, and more to the right. Okay. The second gate or entrance was also seen. It was the Crusader. It's an shape, arch shape door that's still seen. Sorry for my English. شوي إنجليزياتي باللفظ
It's
مرات.
okay, it's okay, it's okay. ممتاز. خليك بس إنجليزي.
Okay. And the third entrance is the small one, as you can see, the small door, which is about 1 meter 30 or 1 meter 100, 1 meter 20 centimeters high. And this door was done during the Ottoman period. Some guys, I heard them saying the Ottomans did it themselves. Some others say no, the Christians did it. Doesn't matter who did it. It's a small door, and it seems that was done to prevent people to come on horses and camels, as it is said, according to the way people were coming to the church. They were coming on horses and camels. Some were saying that they were coming inside. Never mind. But mainly the main reason was to imitate Christ, to imitate Jesus, to make the visitor is making himself as humble as Jesus. Jesus, who accepted to be born in the poorest place on earth, in a cave, uh, between animals. So whenever you come to visit Jesus, you will make humble at his example, and you will kneel in front of him, and you will go inside. Once you are inside, I'm sorry, I don't know what's wrong. Yes, once you are inside, you can see the main nave of the church and the other naves. The Church of Nativity, by the way, when it was constructed or built by Queen Helen, it was having this large 5 naves, as you all know it, or as you can see, maybe in the picture is not that clear. 2 naves on the left side, 2 naves on the right side, and the main nave in the middle of the church, which is the biggest. And you can see in the picture, which is an old one, by the way, you can see the pillars holding the walls, and for sure later the ceiling of the church. Talking about the naves, in the main nave, you can see under the wood, which was restored now, which is bigger now, you can see parts of mosaic. I guess on not this one. No, I'm sorry. Okay, you can see the mosaic, which is the floor from the period of Queen Helen. And sometimes you have a certain area that is open for public, some other times another area. I guess there are the Greek monks who are administrating the church or opening the side they want. And sometimes everything is closed. It depends on occasions sometimes and on your chance. You can see the walls. Let me use my pen. The walls here. Sorry. The walls here to the left side, and on the other side, you have more walls. And on these walls, you can see mosaics as well. As on the ground, you can see the mosaics on the walls, and they are not from the same period. For sure, they are from the times of Crusaders. And if you notice the style, it's more Byzantine. It's not Latin. Crusaders were Latin. It was Byzantine. And these mosaics on the whole wall these mosaics are representing the councils of the church, who were accepted by the Oriental and the Latin church, even after who were accepted by both churches before the big schism or the big separation between the two churches, in the year 1054. Uh, إذا الموزايك هذا بيمثل المجامع المسكونية اللي بتعترف فيها الكنيستين الشرقية والغربية قبل الانشقاق الكبير في 1054. And also you can see on the pillars some paintings, and nowadays you can see graffitis after the restoration. They are more clear, and these paintings, by the way, don't ever say fresco. Fresco is made on with stucco with majafsin, but they are paintings on the stone on the pillars themselves. So they are not frescoes. They look like frescoes, but no, they are not. And these paintings are some saints of the Bible that we know them through the Bible, but some of them mainly on the right side that I cannot see because of the screen, my screen, I mean. You have paintings of two kings, the king of Norway and king of Denmark at that time, King Olaf and King, I did forget his name, it might come later. It seems that thanks to these kings, that their countries became Christian countries in Europe. Also, I repeat, if I did say it, that these paintings are dating back to the days of Crusaders. And also you can see that they are a kind of Byzantine paintings more than Latin paintings. And at the end, in the nave, in the church, we can see the martyrium, the heart of the church, or the transepts. In front of you, you have for sure the iconostas, because it is the Greek Orthodox Church, as you can distinguish. And by the way, this iconostas was given as gift by Russia during the 17th and 18th centuries. Most of it, if not all of it, the wood itself, the icons, and the candles in front of it. And they were restored as well. It was maybe the last step of restoration I have witnessed while visiting the church. Also, you can distinguish the first door that was leading to the cave, the grotto. Sorry,
عوني.
سوري
اوكي
it's okay, my friend. Okay,
ايش عملت؟ انا كبست شيء غلط؟
لا عفوا في
فتحت
خرخشة
السماعة.
بالصوت بس.
سوري.
So, I'm sorry, I'm back. Okay, you can distinguish before reaching the iconostas. Here I can show better the iconostas. Okay, you can distinguish here kind of small hole, kind of small window. This was the first door leading to the cave when the church was built. The first church was built. But as you all know that when the mosaic floor was covered, the level was upper, as you can see, and the small door that was leading to the cave was blocked. That's why when the second church was built by Justinian, he made the actual entrance that we use with our groups and the exit that we use with our groups, the other two doors. By the way, you all know that the right one is used by the Greek Orthodox Church and the visitors to go in, and the second one, the one to the left, is used by the Armenians and the Catholics. And the Orthodox can come out, or they use it as exit only, but not as entrance. Okay, so here was the first entrance. Okay. By the way, as I mentioned, the two churches, it seems that the martyrium was changed between the two churches, Church of Queen Helen and Church of Justinian. In the times of Justinian, it's the actual shape, sorry, the time of Justinian, but at the time of Queen Helen, it was another shape. It was a octagonal building. I will try to pass to the Yes. Here you have two plans, two maps, kind of two maps, representing the difference of the two churches. Please notice that the church of Queen Helen was a little bit smaller in um, it was a little bit smaller than the actual church of Justinian, and the parts were added and it was having kind of atrium here. Meanwhile, we have the narthex at the entrance of the church that is smaller than the one, or it was smaller than the one of was the Queen Helen Church. And notice that it was having the martyrium was made of octagonal building, which was the most famous building during the Byzantine time. And at the actual church that is dating back to the time of Justinian, it has three transepts, the one in the middle, the one to the right, and the one to the left, and the church is making the shape of the cross. No, I'm sorry, I don't put any picture of the narthex. You know that the narthex was the space that was used by the non-baptized people. They were waiting until they are getting baptized in that space, and until nowadays it's still standing. But what I did forget, or I didn't mention yet, that going from the outside, getting in the narthex, to go in the church, you pass by another small door. And the door indeed is big, it's a gate, but most of it is closed. But you have a small open area through which we go inside the church. And this gate is made of wood with sculpture on it. And it is really very lovely sculpture. And it's very old. Maybe it's one of the oldest monuments that we still have in the Church of Nativity. It's dating back from the 12th, 11th, 12th centuries, I guess 12th century. And on it, you can read in Arabic and in Armenian language. In Armenian language. Both. To the right is Armenian and to the left is in Arabic language. So I don't have a picture of it. And in this table, you can see the mosaic floor, the parts of the mosaic floor. Okay. Now, once you keep going inside the church, for sure you will make your effort to go to visit the manger or the grotto, known as well as the manger. And for sure, the most important place inside, after going down the stairs, will be the silver star. Well, the silver star is replacing another star. The original star, let me say, it is not that old. It was given by France in the year 1717. Sorry. But the original star was made of gold. And the golden star did disappear one day. And the disappearance of the golden star was one of the main reasons of the crime war between Russia and the Ottoman Empire. And at the end of the war, Russia, who lost the war, was supposed to replace the golden star by another one. With negotiations, at the end, it seems that France did replace the golden star, and they gave again, but nowadays or at that time they gave a silver star, not a golden one. And you can notice that the silver star is made out of 14 branches. And it is known that the Star of Bethlehem is 5 branches star or 8 branches star. Why 14? Some will say to you that it's the 14 stations of the Via Dolorosa. There's nothing to do, my friends, with each other. Simply, it is related to the Gospel of Matthew when he's giving the chronology of Jesus. He's mentioning the ancestors of Jesus going back to the days of Abraham. And in this reading, we can read 3 steps In each step or phase, we can read 14 names from Abraham to King David, first 14 generations. From King David to the exile to Babylon, we have the second 14th generations. And from the exile to Jesus himself, we have the third 14th 14 generations. That is why we have a 14 branches star. And you can read in Latin a kind of small scripture that says, here you can read it in this area. I guess here is the beginning. Hic de Virgine Maria, Jesus Christus natus est. Indeed, I don't remember whether it's beginning from here or a little bit. It says Hic de Virgine Maria. I still remember the words because I know some Latin. Hic de Virgine Maria, Jesus Christus natus est. Here from the Virgin Mary, Jesus Christ was born. And by the way, the Franciscans mainly insist on the term hic, which means here, in this spot, in this area. And you can compare this silver star with some different places, such as the Church of Saint Joseph in Nazareth. In the cave, once you go down, you can read again hic and the scripture about Saint Joseph or the Holy Family in Nazareth, and also at the birthplace of John the Baptist. It's written the same idea. Hic here from here, they are not mentioning the John the Baptist himself. I don't remember or I don't know the words in English. I know them in French and Latin. Precursor, the one who come before, the one who prepared the way to Jesus was born. This to compare with Enkarim. Okay. Also in the cave or in the grotto, for sure you will look for the manger. The manger is found opposite to the silver star. It's more to the left. Let me show it with my pen. It's found more here. Once you go down from the left side stairs, when you reach, you turn right to the silver star, but once you are on the floor, you turn left. You have 3 other steps. Opposite to these 3 steps, you have the altar of the manger. And we all know that the manger is not anymore in Bethlehem. It's found in the church of Saint Mary Maggiore in Rome, in Italy. And by the way, in the year 2019, the Vatican sent us a small piece of that manger that is found in the Catholic Church, which means that it was a kind of wooden manger. Now here you can have a debate between ourselves whether really the real manger or not. I myself, I'm for the theory that the manger of Christ, or the manger in which was the Christ put, was made out of stone, not a wooden one. Also, opposite to the manger, you have a third altar that is dedicated to the Magi's, the Majus, the 3 kings who came to visit Jesus. And don't forget, once you are in the cave, in the grotto, to notice the walls that are covered with the curtains. This curtain is covering the walls to protect it from fires. And this curtain is made of asbestos. And it was given by France after a big fire that took place in the year 1800, 74, if I'm not mistaken. It was at the time of French General MacMahon. He was the one to give it to the cave. And if you look at the ceiling of the cave, the grotto, you will always see the black color, as also you can see the black color at the mosaics upper to the altar of the star. You can see how the cave was infected by the fire that time. Once you get out of the cave, the grotto, from the other stairs here, you go up, you will reach the Armenian side, in which is in the one of the transepts, and from there you can continue to the Catholic part, and the most important part of the Catholic part will be the Church of St. Catherine. The Church of St. Catherine is the church that was built by the Franciscans in the year 1881, but it was built on the spot of another old church from the times of Crusaders. And why the Franciscans built that church? Because they lost their place in the main spot, in the manger, and the basilica, and they went a little bit further, and they built the Church of St. Catherine. By the way, why St. Catherine? Why not? Why the Franciscans named it upon St. Catherine, or dedicated it to St. Catherine? St. Catherine is considered to be one of the patrons, patron يعني شفيع, of the philosophers. And the Franciscans were having their faculty of philosophy of their seminar in the Holy Land. They were having this faculty in Bethlehem, just behind the Church of St. Catherine, in the monastery. So that's why they have chosen St. Catherine. And until nowadays, St. Catherine is very important in the Catholic Church, mainly for the Franciscans. And for the feast of St. Catherine, the custod himself is coming to Bethlehem officially. And it's kind of the opening ceremony of the festivities of Christmas. There are two ways to go to St. Catherine. The way immediately next to the grotto, or from the grotto through the Armenian chapel, but also from the basilica and from the outside. There's a new gate, let me say, made by the Franciscans later. From there, you can come to the church, passing through the Crusader cloister. And this cloister was the cloister of the old church, on which the actual St. Catherine Church was built on it. And under the St. Catherine Church, you have the caves of St. Jerome, or Irenaeus. St. Jerome was the one to translate the Bible. The caves, all the caves are known as the caves of St. Jerome. But there's one major cave, which is the cave of St. Jerome, in which he lived, and he translated the Bible from Old Hebrew and Old Greek to the Latin language known as Vulgata. And I will try to show it to you in one of the maps. But before you reach St. Jerome, once you go to the caves, in front of you, you have the chapel of St. Joseph, which is a kind of, which is a little bit higher than the floor of the other caves. And according to the tradition, let me say here, it's biblical tradition, by the way, here in that area, St. Joseph was sleeping when he has seen the angel of God asking him to flee to Egypt, because Herod wanted to kill the baby Jesus. So he was inspired with that spot. And once you are on the chapel, you can notice to the left of the altar a nice drawing showing St. Joseph sleeping and the angel of God over his head, inspiring him to go to Egypt. And also beneath the church of or the chapel of St. Joseph, and more to the left, once you get inside the caves, you have the cave of the innocent children killed by soldiers of King David when he tried to kill Jesus. Later on, you go to the right, or once you are down in the cave through the stairs, you go to the right and you go to the caves of San Jerome at the end. But before that, you will pass by his chapel on which you have many altars. Some of the, I guess they are dedicated to Santa Paula and Santa Stokia, her daughter, who came to help San Jerome in building the monasteries and in the translating of the Bible. And in that chapel itself, you find the tomb of Saint Jerome, which is an empty one, because the Crusaders took the body of Saint Jerome and they brought it back with them to Rome, where they built another church, and they named the church by the Church of Saint Jerome. I will try to find the map on my book. This one, I'm sorry. Just give me some seconds, please.
احنا بعد معنا كم دقيقة يا رمزي
ان شاء الله مش مطول، لا ان شاء الله.
اوكي تمام.
ايوه الكتاب بدي افتح احاول. I will try to open the other this picture. Please notice the plan of the church. Maybe I have shown this picture before, the plan of the church. Please notice that at the martyrium area, you have different numbers with different also alphabets. So these are the maps of the underground caves, grottos. So the area A is the place of the star. And by the way, here you have the right steps or right stairs leading to the cave from the Orthodox part. You go down, you're reaching the area A, the silver star. And if you look at B, it's the manger. And opposite it, you have the altar of the Magi's. Okay? And on the other level, or the left side, you have the numbers, more the numbers. The numbers, sorry, yes, the numbers. Please notice number 2 here is the church of, or the chapel of Saint Joseph. And look that behind it, you have the grotto itself. The grotto itself. And you remember maybe all that from here, there's a small door leading to a corridor. And once you are at the church of Saint Joseph, there's a kind of corridor coming this side, and you can, some years ago, there was a kind of a hole in the door, and you can see the grotto itself. Number 2, okay. Number 3 will be the cave of innocent children. The number 3, the Holy Innocent Chapel, the Holy Innocent Children Chapel. Yeah. And number 4, please notice that it's found under the church itself. Here, it is the tomb of Saint Jerome. And number 5 is the cave of Saint Jerome. Is the cave of Saint Jerome. Okay. Here you have the cloister, the cloister, and here you have the Church of Saint Catherine. And from here you go down.
ارفع صوتك.
Sorry, I'm sorry. I put aside the microphone. Can you hear me better now?
أحسن. Yes.
Shall I repeat, or it's okay?
You can continue, please.
Oh, okay. Thank you. I want to pass to other slide, to other table. Yeah. Okay. After talking much about the church itself, let me talk in a hurry about the dominations. You all know that we have 3 dominations in the church: the Orthodox Church, the Catholics, and the Armenians. The Catholics are represented by the Franciscans, by the way. Okay, the Orthodox, they have the most, or the major parts of the Church of the Nativity, and they have the main Android transepts in the Martyrium area. They have the main nave as well, and they run the grotto. They have the grotto. The Catholics, the Franciscans, they are having the altar of the Magi's inside the grotto itself. It belongs to them. And they have the Crusader Cloister and St. Catherine Church and the caves of St. John. And the Armenians are having the left transept area, in which they have two altars. And in the middle of this chapel, there is a small passage of 2 meters large for the Catholics to pass from their church, St. Catherine, leading them to the grotto of the Nativity where Jesus was born. Okay. By the way, friends, if I'm mentioning the denominations, it's not to say Orthodox, Catholics, and Armenians. It's always to talk about the relationship between these denominations, and everyone was doing his best to be on the spot. And indeed, the presence of these denominations on the spot, I mean, the running and administrating the church, or having the church, was always related to the relationship between the Ottoman Empire and Europe. You might be astonished a little bit, but yeah, that was a fact in the country, that whenever the Ottomans were having better relation with a certain country, they were naming the Christians of that country to be the boss or running or administrating the holy sites. And also the Ottomans were getting some money. They were paid from certain churches, or let me say, maybe on the individual level, more or less. So the churches were getting their place in the holy spot. But the most important issue, maybe you never thought about it, that the Ottoman emperors were married with many wives, and they were having many servants with whom they were having a relationship, and they were getting children. A sultan or an emperor was having many children through different wives or from different wives. So these wives were really jealous from each other, and each wife was wanting that her son is to be the later emperor after the death of his father. And I myself, when I was in Istanbul, next to the Hagia Sophia, I visited one of the mosques in which there are princes of the Ottoman Empire were buried there, and you can distinguish how small were the tombs. And these princes were killed by their brothers or by their families. So sometimes the one who was known to be the future emperor in the Ottoman Empire, he was sent abroad in the protection of France or Russia or Armenia or Greece, sorry. So once this man was becoming the emperor, he was giving the place for the Christian community where he lived and where he was protected, and that is why they were exchanging. And we can read in some of the books the relationship between the different dominations. Sometimes it was a very good relationship, let me say, such as the actual days. Even though from time to time, we have some fights between the three, or at least the Armenians and the Orthodox, usually kind of a tradition or static quo, let me say. But we can read in history that there were fights between the Franciscans, the Catholics, and the Greek Orthodox monks, clergy, inside the church, inside the grotto. And in one of the books I read myself, I read that there was kind of shooting even. I don't know how occurred it was, but there was kind of criminal acts against each other to have the spot or to be on the spot.
Ramzi,
تفضل.
can I thank you?
Let me
and Okay.
Okay, okay.
Please make
I wanted to
conclusion.
mention the festivities,
Mm.
Christmas festivities.
Mm.
Let me finish. I will be very quick.
Okay.
We all know that Christmas is on 25th of December. At the 7th of January, it depends on the calendar, Gregorian or Julian, how we say it, the old calendar. Oh, and for the Armenians, they celebrate immediately the Epiphany. They don't celebrate Christmas. It is at the 19th, 20th of January. And we know that all schools are coming from the whole country, sometimes from even from inside Israel. Let me say the Christian groups of Nazareth, maybe not anymore nowadays, but before they were coming to share in the animation of the Scout. And also the Palestinian president of the Palestinian president is also sharing in the festivities for Christmas. And here you have two pictures. The right one is the Catholic Christmas. This might be the Armenian Christmas celebrations. And the Palestinian president was coming, and maybe he was one of the 4 or 5 people who were sitting during Christmas because the seats were removed to have enough space for those who are coming. Why the Palestinian president was coming? It's simply the protocol, the status quo. It was not kind of his will. Maybe he's loving to come, but this the protocol is requiring him to come. And know, if you were following the mass, know that he's entering the church and for the mass in a certain moment when the celebration comes to the song of Gloria in Excelsis Deo, and is getting out with the beginning of the Lord's Prayer, Abana الذي في السماوات. He's leaving. And this is the protocol. It's not his will. Okay. Maybe I did forget something. Anyhow, maybe you will remind me in the questions. Thank you for listening. I hope that you got good information. I was good in presenting it. Please now, if you have any question, please don't forget to ask.
We appreciate so much your presentation, your lecture, colleague Ramzi. In the name of the Arab form of tourist guide, I will thank you, and I will allow the colleagues to give their questions. Now I will make all of them. Now you can ask.
مين اعمل ميوت للكل كمان مرة وبعدين
Okay. Yes.
اللي بده يسأل بيفتح.
تفضل. افتحوا الميكروفونات شباب.
I have a question for Ramzi.
Please.
Ramzi, can you tell us briefly about the columns, the red columns, العواميد, from which area? I mean, the first, second, third, and the 3 holes in one of it. Is it traditional?
Okay.
Is it, yeah, because, there's a lot of stories about it. So I would love to hear it.
If I'm not mistaken, I guess this is the pillar.
The red pillars, the big, the 44 pillars.
No, I'm talking about the one who has the cross. Maybe this is the one, if I'm not mistaken. Anyhow, you have about 48 pillars in the church. And by the way, I am convinced that these pillars, and I guess it's a fact, that they were the pillars used by Queen Helen Church, or when the Queen Helen Church was constructed.
You mean the first church?
The first church, yeah, the first church. And they were reused again in the second church. And it seems that these pillars made out of marble, red marble, comes from a near area. So they are locals. It is said to be coming from the Tantur monastery. The Tantur monastery is found just before reaching the checkpoint, the main checkpoint 300 or Russia's checkpoint. It is found to your right after the next to the last light before coming to Bethlehem. When you are coming from Jerusalem,
Hmm.
there are coming the pillars, and they were reused by Justinian when he built the second church. It seems that, as I repeat, that the Samaritans burnt the church, but they did not destroy it. It was not destroyed, but to make a better church, it was rebuilt. Maybe it was destroyed by the constructors to have a more fortified building, and the pillars were used again. And according to the pillar you mentioned, the 5 holes at the sign of the cross, I always say it's a kind of legendary story. It's not a true story. It's more symbolic, or it's a traditional story. That's I have heard 2 stories, or I know 2 stories, that from these holes out of the pillars came out the bees to chase the Persians. So that's why the church was not destroyed.
Mhm.
There's another tradition that says from the same holes, or from these holes came out the sorry for the name, I don't know in English, the boar,
The Babir. Ah.
the babir, came out from here and chased the Mamluks.
Hmm.
Maybe if you did notice, I mentioned that the Mamluks did not destroy the church.
Yeah.
According to the tradition, they were having the will, but because they were chased by the babir, they ran away. Yeah, I know the term in French, frelon. Sorry, my French is better.
اوكي هذا هو
Thank you.
that's it منير.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
The
Yeah,
next one just a minute صالح. The next one Nader Kasabri have a question. Please Nader. نادر. اوكي عزمي جبران تفضل.
Thanks, Ramzi, for the presentation. It was very good.
ارفع صوتك عزمي.
I have a question. First of all, thank you for the presentation.
Welcome, with pleasure.
I have a question about
Speak then.
a statue of Saint Jerome outside in the yard. There is a skull under his leg, his feet.
Yes.
What is the meaning of this skull?
Well, according to my knowledge, it's personal knowledge. I learned through 2 leaders that I accompanied. I never read about it in books really. That Saint Jerome was a kind of a nervous man. He was very nervous in his daily life, and he was getting nervous very quickly. And he was criticized very often about that. So he tried to make some effort to change by himself. So he brought the skull on his office. He kept it in front of him. And every time that he was getting nervous, he was looking at the skull to remind him that there's no reason to get nervous. Whatever you are or you're not, at the end you are dying, man. So you will die and you will become as this skull. So this is the story indeed I know about this skull. I don't know if other colleagues have other stories that they might share. I guess there's another story about it, but I myself I did forget it.
Okay. Thank you. صالح
Just give
خطيب.
me just عفوا صالح. بليز اللي بيسأل سؤال كان رافع ايده لو ينزل ايده لقدام حتى نعرف مين سأل مين ما سألش. تفضل.
عم بس
صالح تفضل.
صالح your turn صالح.
Really, I have a really funny question. Maybe all of you will laugh. Tell me, who runs the WC there? Because I made promise for myself. If I find it open, I will celebrate, big celebration. It's a really big problem for all of the groups, right?
Yes, I agree with you. Did you hear the question, friends?
You can repeat it,
Yeah.
it's better.
who runs the WC, the toilets in the church, and the matter of the toilets is a real problem in the church for groups who are coming, mainly for those who are having longer time for celebrations and so on. Friends, it's really a problem. It's really a problem. We in Bethlehem, as other places, we are not angels, we are not saints, and some are getting profit out of these kind of services. I guess the WC is run by the Franciscans, but for sure they are not coming to run it by themselves. They have an employee, someone, an employed man who's running it. And if you notice that if once you want to go in, he's forcing you to pay before you go in. And it's not a small amount of money, $1 or €1. Okay, I understand that we need to clean it and to keep it clean and so on. That is helping others. That is useful for others. But maybe the way it's done, and sometimes this employee is very rude. I witnessed many stories about him. But at the end, we are not angels. And as we have the good, we have the bad. And really, it's a problem. Once you come back, once you come to Bethlehem in the bus, you have tourists who are you have tourists who get the request to go to the restrooms immediately once they get out of the bus. And in the station, you have the WC as well, but also it is paid there. It is paid. And maybe, unfortunately, there, even though it's not clean enough. And very often you have the water on the ground. Unfortunately, we have this problem. So it depends on your chance when you arrive there, when you reach there.
Okay.
By
Okay,
the
thank
way,
you.
you can use the Casanova
منير بشرات
restrooms.
انت عندك.
يلا
Can I ask?
Yes. Okay. شذا تطور تفضلي.
Yes, hello to all. It's my pleasure to be with you today. Thank you very much for all of you and for Mr. Ramsey. I have one small question. Actually, sometimes we have French people, Ramsey, who came to visit the Nativity Church, and they say, do you think it's the real place where Jesus Christ was born? So my question is, what would be your answer if you have been asked such a question? Is it really, are you sure that this is the place where Jesus Christ was born? What makes you sure about it? Thank you.
Okay. I myself as human, I doubt everything. I myself as a human, I doubt everything. Is it really the place of the Church of Nativity? Is it really the place of the Holy Sepulchre Church? And which is healthy to doubt for me. Well, no one can prove it 100%, but because we have the witness of previous people who passed on the spot, you can say at least 95% it's the place. And when the first event that is proving that it's the place, it's the construction of Hadrian, the temple of Adonis on the spot, to prevent Christians to venerate this place. Also, we have the writings of the fathers of the church, among whom we know Saint Justin from Nablus, who came to visit the church in the year 152, and he described the church, what he has found when he visited the church. And also we can read the writings of Saint Cyril of Jerusalem. I was reading about it today, how we can prove it. So Saint Cyril is from the 4th century, I guess. He's describing also the place, how it looked like and when it was constructed. And we have other writings of the Saint Jerome, by the way. And the most important witness was the witness of Saint Eusebius, the bishop of Yes, the Bishop of Caesarea Maritima. He's the one to describe it in a very good way. Indeed, I don't find the text itself, but I know that. Okay, for about I find it. For about 180 years from Hadrian time until the the coming of Constantine, the image of Jupiter was venerated by the heathen on the side of the resurrection. He's talking about Jerusalem here, but he will come. V- statue of Venus on Golgotha, Bethlehem. So he's mentioning in the text, which now is ours, talking about the church, was overshadowed by the grove of Tammuz, that is Adonis, and in the cave where the Christ child once cried, they wept for Venus' lover. And in the 4th century, as I said, St. Cyril of Jerusalem is describing the place. So we have the writings of the first Christians who witnessed the place, who transmitted their witness to us through from generation to generation.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Before giving Nader Kasabri again the right to ask, let me read what another colleague wrote on the notes. Fuad, thanks a lot for the stunning presentation. Auni, thank you, Ramzi. What else? iPhone, there is no name. Thanks a lot, Ramzi. Very informative. Amazing information, Ramzi. Thank you. This was Fuad, Auni. I wrote
as well. Malik Oda wrote, thank you, was great. Thank you, Malik.
Yes. And Malik Audi, yes, was great. And iPhone, I read it. Okay, Nader, you are still there? Nader Kasabri? No.
I want to ask a question, if it's possible.
تفضلي نادية, تفضلي.
Yes, you mentioned that King Adrian, he built a temple in the Holy Sepulchre, where it's the Holy Sepulchre now. And also the nativity, it was Adonis temple. Adonis temple, what it presents? Let's say the Aphrodite presents the beauty, but Adonis, what it presents?
Well, really, it's a hard question for me. Even I'm fond of mythology, but really I don't distinguish between the pagan gods, let me say, old gods of the Greek time and the Roman time. Really, I'm sorry, but for sure you might look for it through internet or through books, and you can find it. Maybe Raj or other colleagues might help us. Adonis, really, no, I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. You don't have to know everything, you know. But
sure.
I thought that you know.
As
I have another
you
question.
might have better information about certain issues.
Yes, I have another question about the columns. I think there is every line is 11 column, not 12, if I'm not wrong. Does it present the disciples after Judah? Because Judah, they didn't count him with the disciples. Does it? I don't know if it's 11 or 12, but I remember that I count 11 columns each line in the Nativity Church. Am I right or not? I don't know.
You know,
I am also sure it's 11.
It's
4
11.
times
So
11.
44, huh?
44, yeah.
44,
Okay.
yes.
Well, please, next time you come, please count them again. I myself, I counted them once. I found that the pillars were 50, not 48. So we have two. But I guess who's singing?
I cannot hear because somebody's shouting.
Nadia.
Yes.
Somebody singing behind you.
No, not me. Somebody else, not me. I don't have. I have
Anyhow.
only a small girl.
Anyhow.
A baby.
Okay.
She's 1 month. She
So
cannot.
as I told you, once I counted them 11, once I counted them 12, and once I counted in the walls other two columns. By the way, being 11 or 12 according to the disciples, it's a matter of falsification, or let me say it in Arabic, حسن فلسفة الأمور نوعا ما خلينا نقول.
Mm.
There's no relationship between, I guess there's no relationship between the disciples and the number of the pillars, but they are 44, 48. I guess they are more 48. Well, you can count them the next time to be sure. I might be mistaken, I repeat. But let me tell you that next to the cloister, when you go out from the cloister to the main exit before passing the WC, the restrooms at the Franciscan side, you have the plan of the pillars and the plan of the paintings of the pillars. So just know that maybe next time it might be useful for you to see this tableau or this map of these pillars. I repeat,
Okay.
whether they are 44
Thank
Nadia-
you
or
very
48.
much.
You're
Thank you
welcome.
very much. It was very interesting. Really, thank you.
Okay.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Nadia. Nader, because he have a problem with his mic, he wrote, I need explanation about the hole on the right side on one of the pillars. And another one, he have no name, asked the same question. I know that you explain and you give the answer. Please repeat.
Okay, the matter of the pillars. I will try to find again the other notes. It's more here, it's more clear. Yeah, maybe it's this pillar, if I'm not mistaken, that we have the holes. Please, if you notice very well, at the holes on the pillars, they are all the five, they are the same. So I believe that they were done by human hands. But I repeat that according to the Christian tradition, I don't know from where it comes exactly. Some says that from here came out the bees to chase the Persians, and later to chase the Mamluks, not to destroy the church. So it's simply a matter of tradition. But you can find really that some people are putting their fingers inside the holes and they are praying in a very emotional way, and you will sometimes you find some people crying while putting their fingers. Well, if you want to believe it, it's made by God, it's made by humans, you're free. I myself, I think really deeply or strongly that they are human made, not something by miracles. It's upon you, it depends on you.
Okay, another questions, colleagues? Okay, we can conclude everything. Okay, Ramzi, thank a lot. It's the first time, but not the last one. Let's hope
Inshallah.
to meet again.
Inshallah.
I have one question here, one message.
That's one.
So that's it. Okay. Thank you, Ramzi. Thank you all.
Thank you all for.
Let's meet in our conference in the 9th of March next month. I hope, Ramzi, you can participate and you are invited to be one of our guests in this conference.
If I will be able, I will be coming for sure. Thank you for the invitation. Thank you all for listening to me. It was a pleasure. It was an honor you gave me, Raed, and I hope I did well.
It's the form. It's not me myself. It's the form of the Arab guide.
Form. Okay. Well, God bless you all, and please keep going, and God bless you.
Thank you. There is answer about Adonis if somebody interested in it. In Arabic, somebody wrote in Arabic about Adonis in the notes. Thank you all. Bye bye. See you later.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Again, thank you.
العفو يا شباب. يعطيكم العافية جميعا.
شكرا رمزي. شكرا حبيبي. شكرا. الله يقويك.
العفو. يا الله.